Good morning. For the record, my name is Matthew Driskill. I'm president of Global Information Resources. A year ago, this city was changed forever. A terrorist bomb took the lives of many of our friends and stole the innocence of a nation, a state, and a great city. In order to record for history and for the city's peers around the nation, it was determined that a report should be made of the city's outstanding response. This report is, in effect, the textbook of the future on how to deal with these events. The city agreed with the suggestion made by Global that since the city is writing the textbook of the future, why not put it on the medium of the future, CD-ROM. The disk that we are getting ready to present to you now holds amazing amounts of data. And that data can be anything from text to audio to pictures and video. To give you an example, one CD-ROM will hold over 400 floppy disks worth of information. It is also emerging as one of the most powerful tools in education today. And that's really what we feel like this tool is. It is a tool to educate the city's peers around the country and around the world in exactly how to respond to these types of situations. It was Global's honor to be associated with this project, and it was an honor to work with the city and the city staff and the city's documentation team that was appointed to handle this. It was through the combined efforts of all of these entities and through the efforts of our nationally recognized producers and programmers that we were able to present this to you today. We will have a short presentation which will be done by Mr. Scott Klosowski, who is president of Campaign Technologies. And then after that, we would like to end with some additional thank yous, and then we will also answer any questions that you all may have.
Good morning. As Matt said, my name is Scott Klosowski. I am president of a firm called Campaign Technologies. We are one of the co-producers on the CD. Our specific job was to take the city's report and make it into an electronic version. So what we did was look at all of the content that was available on video, audio, the different assets that Matt mentioned, and try to take something that is on paper and make it a much more visual, interesting, powerful tool that would give a much better retention rate for the information. One of the first things that we do when we open up a CD-ROM is we develop what's called a splash sequence, and it just kind of sets up the CD. And this sequence varies anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So we will open with that. Everything you're seeing is being generated from this laptop sitting right here in front of me, and we're just projecting it up. So what you see here would be on your computer screen.
cow.
Absolutely incredible.
About a third of the building has been blown away. This is just devastating.
One of the capabilities that we put in is to be able to click with your mouse button and go by that sequence. So within the first 15, 20 seconds of it, if you've seen it before, which oftentimes people look at these CDs over and over again, they can just click so that they don't have to look at that whole sequence. We started this project, we basically started getting the content in January. Just to bring you up to speed a little bit, we had about 75 days to work with this material. Normally, to do what you'll see here today, would take about 6 months, and that's normally the time we like to work with it. So, because that's when the content was generated, we've had to work very quickly, and we're very proud of the fact that we have been able to do as good a job as we've done in 75 days. I'll just walk through some of the power that you have here. The first section is the report, and again, this is based on the written report that was created by the documentation team. What we've done is actually start in a chronological order. So we start with a forward that's actually before the bomb goes off. So what we have is to let people know a little bit about what the city was like outside of the bombing. So you can actually start and just get information about Oklahoma City. One of the things I'd mention is these pictures are very large. In multimedia, normally you run pictures and video in a smaller window. But since we thought the pictures were so powerful, we spent a lot of time and energy trying to get the pictures and the movies to be as large as possible to people. Now, if you were looking at this screen and you absolutely did not know what to do here, we've given you help capabilities. Or you can just click on the help button and you actually get clouds that come up, that what we call dialogue clouds, that will tell you what to do with each of the buttons and how everything works. These are available from just about everywhere within the CD. Now, all through the CD, you have the ability to drop down a menu and pick out where you want to go. Now, we've actually organized the report by how it happens emotionally, not by days or anything else that's artificial. So the main headings are things such as shock and response, taking control, resource escalation, sustaining the effort. Those are the main topics. And then within each of those, we can go decide where we want to go. So we'll pick a topic in the middle and look at reorganization. And I'll show you how we take text. And again, this is the text that was generated from the documentation team and how we can add power to it. For instance, we have every word that is highlighted in red is actually an asset, or what we call content. So if you click on Fire Chief Mars, you get a biography. If there are any words that are initials, we've given the ability to click on them so that you can see the entire explanation. People outside of Oklahoma City might not know, for instance, what EMSA stands for, or what a USAR team is. And as we go through here, you'll see other things that are highlighted, and each one of these represents another thing that you can click on and go look at.
The basement of the Southwestern Bell building has become a mini-mart, if you will.
Just about anything. We've got foot powder and Vicks and sunscreen and...
The way that we did this was actually to take all the thousands of pictures and take thousands of hours of videotape and clip them into an inventory and then match the inventory back up with words in the report. So we didn't artificially generate this report.
As bad that we had to pull out of the building, it gives us a prime opportunity to regroup this situation. We determined that we would pull all of the companies into one staging area north of the command post. We made that broadcast for all the people to get back to their vehicles, bring their vehicles around to the north side command staging area that we had set up. And when all of that happened...
So you've seen samples of video and biographies. There's actually a couple other types of content in here. This sample is an engineering animation, and we saw this on television, and the programmers and Matt and I actually called the people in New York and asked if we could get the rights to this because we thought it added so much to the CD. I don't know if you've all seen this, so I'll let it run for a second. But there are some people that they can't imagine what actually happened to the building. And so we looked at actually animations from a couple different companies and then went and got the rights to the one that was the best. And this is from Engineering Animation in New York. And then they're scattered throughout. Whenever we make a comment about something such as the Christmas tree, we can actually click on it and go see a photo so that people can understand what the Christmas tree is. And each of the photos has a narration at the bottom that you can see. Again, this was a little bit extra work that we went to. In multimedia, normally people just flash pictures up, but we wanted to make sure that everybody understood what they were looking at. Okay, there are some people that don't want to just read through a report, and there are hundreds of pages in here of text. So we've given them another way to look at the information. You actually can come up to the Browse Media section here, and you can look at the movies, pictures, or biographies. And they're broken down again by the categories over here. So we're in shock and response, for instance. We can click on that, and it actually gives us all of the videos stacked up.
We have a large column of smoke to be south of this address. Are you going to check on that? Mark 17 after.
We can click through these videos.
316 to command. We have at least 3 buildings destroyed. We have all. Got a lot of victims here at what the hell is that?
It's just another way to look at the information. One of the things we did in the middle of this process was we started doing focus group testing with people, and we showed them the CD and said, tell us where you have problems with it. And some people said, well, the biggest problem we have is we don't understand the street names. We don't understand the nicknames for places in the building. We can't visualize this. We can't visualize how much destruction was done. So we decided to put in a maps section that lets you, and we have a number of different maps here, and I'll show you what you can do. You can actually build layers. For instance, the surrounding buildings, structural damage, collapsed structures, street names. You can go through and build a map so that people have some idea of what was going on. And then we also have, well, this is a list of the different maps that we have. For instance, the Murrow building, when we talk about columns and how much of it was collapsed, people can't visualize it. So we build a map that you can just walk up and see where the columns are. You can see the collapsed columns. You can see the nicknames for the areas, and where the blast epicenter is. So we found that these were very important tools to people to be able to help show them what actually happened. And I won't go through all the maps, but I'll show you one more. The recovery process is a map that just walks through day by day what happened. Then there are a number of other reports. Besides the main overview report, we can go to what we've called appendixes, but they're really just separate reports from a number of different divisions of the city. So for instance, we can come down and click on the IMSA report. And we get this report. And again, we have different pieces of media that are all tied to this report.
Was the overall commander or charge of the scene. Under their umbrella, we operate in the medical function. We're responsible for the emergency medical care given in a mass casualty. We have to coordinate all the medical resources and everything.
So you can see how important this is to just written reports, how much more visual it makes it. What studies have shown is that it ups the retention rate for information tremendously. And since we're trying to make this a tool that other people could use to learn from, all of the video and photos are very important. We won't look through all these, but just to show you some of the other things that are in it, this is a list of all of the USAR reports, USAR team reports that we put in here. And again, we struggled all along to get the USAR companies to get us their reports in digital format so we could put them in here. We got the last two about a week or so before we actually had to mint this CD. And we felt pretty lucky to be able to get all these in. I'll show you just one more section of the report. And this is under the renewal section, and just show you any of this video on the right-hand side is embedded on the left-hand side, but some people want to just
thank everybody for all their support all over the world, but particularly Oklahoma and our country. The outpouring of the love and the concern and the compassion was overwhelming, and it made, I tell folks, these guys who wanted the victory out of this building didn't get it. Yep.
So that's a quick tour through. When you're finished, you can just hit the quit key, and we have the credits here that give credit to all the people that worked on it, all the people that donated time. You can see a list, just a small list of people that gave us content for this. And there is nowhere in the world a better collection of information about this incident than what you have right here. And I know that we've had some communication from FEMA that had just heard about this and asked us about it, and they were very impressed that the city had taken the steps to do this, and are very excited about getting a copy of it. And I know they're very much looking forward to getting this, and have said that from now on they think they need to be doing this because they've always done the reports on paper and videotape and spent a lot of money doing it, and felt like this is probably a much better medium. So I think that you'll find that this CD, when people see it, it's going to put an exclamation point on how the city handled this incident.
Finally, I hope you all, I don't want to use the word enjoy that, but I hope that you found that as powerful as we do as a tool to help other cities around the country, because that's what we really designed this for, was as a tool for the city's peers around the country to be able to help deal with these kinds of things. I really, as I said before, this has really been a joint effort on the parts of a lot of people. I personally have to thank Scott Klosowski. Without Scott and without his expertise, Scott is probably a little too bashful to mention it, but he was a producer of the Haldeman Diaries on CD-ROM a couple of years ago, and I have to thank him for all of his tremendous hard work. And I'd also like to thank, he could not be here today, but Mr. Richard Halcomb of Halcomb Associates in San Francisco. They are a nationally recognized firm that we brought into this project. They've done work for CBS, ABC. I believe I left a client list, which was in part of your packet there, so that you can learn about that. Mr. Halcomb is asked to lecture around the country on multimedia. First, I'd also like to thank the city staff that we worked very hard with. The documentation team, we put them under some tremendous deadlines and some tremendous pressure, and they rose to the occasion and worked very hard to get the information to us. And so I think that the doc team members that are here today, I'd like for them to stand and be recognized, because they have done an outstanding job, and I think they deserve a lot of credit. Finally, I would simply like to submit this report to the city, ask for your approval, and we have some copies here that we would like to pass out to the council, and if it's possible, if you would indulge me, I have a couple of young assistants that would like to pass those out to you.
Okay. I'd like to say, while they're passing those out, this is 21st century technology that was not here 2 or 3 years ago. This would not have been possible. I know the number of hours that they've spent on this, and it's an enormous task. Thank you. An enormous task to develop something like this with all the information that was available to edit through it. And for what I've seen, I think you've done a real good job. And I move that we accept this.
Second.
And we'd also like to be able to answer any questions that you may have.
Not sure if any of us are knowledgeable enough in electronics to be able to ask any intelligent questions.
I just have one question, and I'm brand new with computers, and I'm loving working on my computer for fun. Really, I guess you can get addicted. But
Looks like it.
if we go through all the different options that you've put on this CD, how long are we going to be on the computer to get through this?
It's up to you.
And hours
It's up to you. We, in the fact sheet that I passed out to you, the documentation team provided us with over 500 photographs. We have about an hour's worth of video clips, and then all of the text as well, and the additional biographical information that Scott showed you, and those types of things. It's not like a music CD where there's a linear time limit to it. You could spend an hour with it just looking at the videos, or you could spend days looking at the text, or clicking through all of the different hyperlinks.
I can give you some industry statistics.
Scott, could you come up to the mic so they can hear you, please? Thank you.
The industry statistics are, on the average, somebody will look at a CD 3 times for an hour each time. And that's the average, so usually 3 hours total.
And how long did it take you to read the final report that was delivered this weekend?
I'm still not through that. But,
Still reading.
and that is a good report, by the way. Thank you, City Manager.
This is, of course, that is going to be printed by OSU, and will be the hard copy report for the city. It will be used in their fire training program at OSU, and it is a tremendous work on the part of the doc team. And this was going, you must remember the doc team was doing that plus this at the same time. And as Matt has said and Scott have said, there was tremendous pressure on these young people because the thing that you have to understand about it is this becomes part of your life. This event was part of their life because many of them, experienced being on the scene, doing all this sort of stuff. So I think they are truly to be commended, not only this professional organization, but the professionals we have on staff.
I'd also, Your Honor, like to, for the record, I would be remiss, and this has been a requirement from my underwriters, would like to remind you this was done at no cost to the city.
Oh.
And brought in on time and on budget.
And Don,
That's the best part.
the doc team had the opportunity to review the final copy yesterday, is my understanding?
Yes, you presented 2 copies for them? Right.
And it's my understanding also, in reviewing the CD yesterday myself, that the team is satisfied with the changes that were developed in the last few minutes. And
I believe so, but I would defer to Mr. Bound on that.
that's the story I heard, that they were pleased.
I would say the general, the consensus of the doc team is that this is a good product.
Okay, very good. Also, I think it'll help fire department and rescue teams all over the world viewing this, what the city's done.
But some of the things they did on this CD are really hard to do, and this is, like the mayor said, a new field, or Councilman Liebman said it, such as the lip syncing. I mean, that's extremely difficult to make the words on a computer go with the movement of the mouth, and I think they've done an excellent job.
If, as you go along, if you find you want to update or make revisions, I guess you could have a CD-ROM version 2 or something at some point. I assume the master, then, if it was to be changed at a later date.
Yes, sir. We could certainly do that. It becomes a matter of time and money.
I understand that. But that's...
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Why don't we move then to item 6H, which is the resolution accepting the CD-ROM title and final report from Global Information Resources, Inc. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Record your vote. Approved unanimously. It's been accepted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Good job to the guys on the doc team, too. It's really, it's going to be interesting to watch this, see what's in there. Thank you. A lot of people are going to learn from it.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I apologize. I do have one final piece of business, and I'm sure that the attorneys present in the council chambers would think me remiss. I do have the contractually required 500 copies to be delivered to the city. I will make arrangements with the city manager to deposit those with him.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. At this time,